You must have noticed that every day has a different feeling to it, and it does. Sometimes it's more subtle than others. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do and what you try and set out to do, the day just does not align. Your mood doesn't align for these things to take place. And it's certainly not random. And sure, there's many things that affect this. Of course, it can be your sleep, it can be what you've eaten, it can be the emotions that come up. But even if you're in a routine and your sleep's been the same, your diet's been the same, everything's good, you know, you've ticked every box that you would on every other day, but you sort of can't ignore that there's this feeling to the day that's present. And this is because of the energy of the day. It's real, you know, every day's got a completely different energy, and this is due to things that are completely out of our control. As I said, you might be in your routine, your normal thing, nothing in your little world might have changed, but out in the outer world, the big world, all these planets and alignments are affecting what comes up. Depending on where the planets are, it supports a certain energy. I've been talking a lot recently about flow and urgency and how to achieve a bit more flow and tap into it and understand it. And I think understanding and respecting that the planets are on these cycles and they all support a different energy is a key part of it, because it doesn't matter what we sort of set out to do in the day or how much we take control and put ourselves in the best position to feel good or to strive for something or to achieve something. There is always this outer force taking place that is the planets and where they're aligned. Now, they bring a certain energy and they support certain things, and I think it's important for us to respect that and understand that, just so we can accept that, right, yeah, there's bigger forces at play here, and I can work with them, at least respect them and understand that they're there. Now, sometimes it's going to align perfectly and you might wake up and you're just going to crack on with your day, and as I said, sometimes it's subtle, you might not even notice it, you know, that there's certain vibe. And then there's other days that we all feel we're just like, what is going on, you know? And that's because we're setting out to take our day in a certain way with full intentions of doing a certain thing, but the truth is the energy and the planets and the energy that they're bringing might not support that. And the Mayan calendar dives into this and respects this and understands this on a level that each day has a different energy, and sometimes it's going to promote getting work done, other times it's going to promote rest. And we can fight that as humans, you know, because, for example, just because it's a Monday and it's the start of the week and the whole world's getting up to work and start their 9 to 5s or crack on in productivity and feeling like, right, it's a Monday, you know, it's time to work, it doesn't actually mean that the day's energy is promoting work. Sometimes it will, you know, but those days where you just feel like, why am I not managing to click into the things I wanted to do? I think it's good to recognise that it might not actually be you. It's you being affected by these things that are at play, and that the energy of the day is not supporting it. Now, to achieve flow and to tap into flow and be in alignment with flow, I think it's good to understand that this is going on and to respect it, and in many ways work with it, you know, and that comes to not forcing. As I said, just because it's a Monday doesn't mean that it's a time to work. Yeah, our society is built around that, and that even on the mundane collective, our mindsets are all like, right, it's Monday, it's time to work. It's the start of the week, it can feel hard, or it might feel exciting depending where you're at, depending what you're doing, how much you love what you do. But that's just an example of, just because it's Monday, it doesn't mean that you're going to be in the mood to work or feeling the urgency to work. You know, that Monday could actually be a day that the planets are supporting for rest, supporting healing, supporting these other things, and we have to fight it because of the way our society is. We have to battle ourselves and get out of the way of it. Yeah, I encourage that if we're in a position to respect it, understand it, and work with it and accept it, this allows for flow to take place. This allows us to tap into that place where it's like, right, okay, I've got my full intentions to do a certain thing, but I'm not going to battle the vibe of the day. And I think there's a lot of power in this. I think there's a lot of letting go that can happen, and using the energy that's actually there, right? And you can feel it. We all feel it. As I said, sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's very clear what the day is. And it's going to be different for all of us, because we've all got different charts, we're all born at different times, and we're all affected by different planets, and it doesn't hit the same. But there is also this mundane energy, as I mentioned, the Mayan calendar that really respects this and dives into it. And if you dive into the Mayan calendar, it'll really give you like, right, we're on this day and this supports this thing, right? And that might be that, yeah, it might be a Sunday that's time to actually crack on, start your projects and really get things moving, because you're going to be supported in that energy. You're going to have the energy of the day is going to support productivity or meeting friends or socializing and these sorts of things. And other days they won't. And just because we've got a Monday to Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday that we all sort of attach these things to, that the weekend's for socialising and resting, it might be the weekend is on this particular day is to really get on and start projects and be productive and crack on. And this really helps achieve some sort of flow because there's letting go in it. You're not forcing. When you stop forcing and understanding that, right, there's bigger things at play here and I can work with them, it brings a little bit more of understanding. I think on a simple level, it's just understanding that it's not all down to us. You know, we can do everything we want to do to put ourselves in a position to achieve what we want to achieve that day, and that might be rest, that might be just time with family, time with friends. It might also be work and getting things done and being productive. But being productive doesn't just tie into work. It doesn't just tie into making steps forward on projects and things like that. We need to be aware that there's more to life. We've got our mind, body and spirit, and taking a day of rest is also productive in some sense of your being. You know, we need that as well. So a day of rest isn't unproductive. It's productive in the sense it might be for your mind, you know, it might be for your body to actually rest, and that's productive and that's needed. And what I'm just trying to highlight is that there's days that when you might be feeling like you want to get something done and it's not clicking, when you can and where you can, don't fight it. And maybe dive into it. Look to see what the mind calendar's saying. Look to see where even your personal chart's saying, because it will have a big impact on what you want to get done. And this allows for rest. This allows for pondering. This allows for us to sit, let things land. And although it might not feel productive, it really, really is, because there's more to us than just trying to get things done. And this is what I think a big part of being in flow is. It's reading the energy, feeling the energy, just where you're at, but also where the collective's at, and using that. And as I said, not every day is just as simple as that, right? Because it's a Monday and a Tuesday, we need to be working. Just because it's the start of the week, I need to have this full energy of snapping into products. I understand that for a lot of us, that is the way it is. We have to crack on, and it's time to work. You're at work, you've got to do it. But internally, for you to know, if it doesn't feel like that, maybe take the day a bit more slowly. It might change in the afternoon. An energy might come in the afternoon that actually everything starts clicking. And this is why I spoke about you can work on something for 6 hours in a way, trying to force it. Yeah, it can all come together in half hour. And this is all because we get to a point where we find some flow or something changes in us and our moods. But it's not just down to us. We have to respect and understand that, yeah, there's other things at play that have a big impact on the way the day goes and the way we feel in our day. And it's not as simple as just getting into the mood for it, because as I said, we are supported in rest, in productivity, in getting things done, in learning, in healing. We are supported, and there's times for us all individually that we're going to feel it on it when we're going through our own cycles, but also, as I said, the mundane collective of those dates, you know, and those times, and depending where the planets are. It blows my mind in many ways that we don't, as a society, give more respect to this, because we all understand and accept that the moon, for example, just the moon affects women's menstrual cycles, it affects the tides, so why wouldn't it affect other things? And then you apply that to all the other planets, they all bring a different energy, they all represent a different thing, and we've all got that inside us, so it makes sense. It's going to push, it's going to pull, it's going to support, it's going to do all these things. Yet as a society, we very much kind of put it over there as a bit woo-woo, or that there's not much substance in it. But to me, I can't see how these things don't have a play. And when you start open your mind up to that and seeing it and researching it and following it just as a tool, doesn't mean do nothing, doesn't mean don't try, doesn't mean none of that, but to work with it, to understand that on the days where it's not subtle and it's quite full on, we should be able to respect it, take it, work with it. And as I said, that might be a day to actually calm down, take a rest, because the days and the times will come to be productive in other areas, if that's socially or with work and everything else. So this is key for us achieving flow, because again, it's that letting go of not forcing. And sure, the urgency's there, we all want to turn up, have our good routines if that works for you, and really put yourself in the best position to achieve the things you want to achieve and snap into the energy you want to achieve. But sometimes you're not flying downriver with it, because there's other things at play that are pulling you in a different direction. And if you allow to get pulled in that direction, you allow to understand that, right, maybe it's not time to force it and go against it, that's when we can actually start achieving flow. And it's being kind to ourselves to recognize that, right, look, I'm going to give myself this time to feel this, to do this, to take a step back, to let some things land, and have faith and trust and knowing that it will soon change. The energy will soon change. Your mood's soon going to change, and then you'll be working on all the things that once you felt guilty for not being able to crack on with. And this is again like why sometimes you can be putting the energy there and nothing happens, and all of a sudden it can happen in a very short time. So let's respect the planets. Let's do it. And when you're feeling these days and it's not subtle and you wake up, you think, oh, why am I feeling this way? I encourage you to take a look and into where the planets are and where they're affecting you. And the more you know your own chart, this all helps. And I'm not saying to settle for a certain thing. It's about working with it and understanding it. And I think as soon as we understand it and respect it, then we can start tapping into that flow and recognizing that, right, yeah, there's more at play here than just what I'm deciding the day to be, and yeah, battle for it if you want to, and there's times for that, sure, but there's also times to be a little kinder to yourself and be wise and be intentional with, I'm taking a rest right now because I need to, or I need time with friends right now, even though it's a Monday. It's just like we can't be too rigid in our society structures when there's these planets out there and the energies of the day are not in alignment with our society structure, and that we can really tap into more of a flow and be open to flow when we respect these things and give some power to them, and not be so hard on yourself, because sure, there's going to be other days where crack on, work, because you've got everything supporting you to birth good ideas and bring them to life and make connections and network. There's going to be days and you're going to feel that. There's going to be days that really encourage that. So on the flip of it, understand that not every day will, and that's okay, because it will all come back around. Every day's got a different energy, and we should be working with it and at least understanding it, even if you don't dive in and into the Mayan calendar and your astrology and everything else, even if you don't, but at least understand in the back of your mind that this is at play. And not to force, because it will all come back round. And by allowing this, we manage to achieve a bit more flow as humans and connection to the universe, connection with ourselves, connection with our own rhythms and our own cycles, and that is more productive. That is. And as I said, productivity isn't just in your projects and in your work. It's also in relationships, your relationship with your body, your mind, body and spirit. We need to be productive in all these areas and allow for growth to happen in all these areas of our beings, and not get caught too much up in the urgency, as I spoke about in previous videos, that I certainly feel, So it's good that we've got the passions, the drives, and we'll be able to maintain those passions, maintain that drive, if we respect the energy of the day and how that's forever changing. Weeks can pass and you just might be on this flow state or not recognizing that there's these big pulls. But I know that we all do feel these days where it's like, what is up with today? Today's a bit funky, today's a bit strange, today I'm feeling it. And yeah, you're feeling it, and it makes sense. Don't battle it, it's normal. Let's work with it, let's respect it, let's have that understanding that there's more at play, and we can work with that, and that will help us be in flow.